4.3 on heat transfer. This will be the final video for this year. Heat transfer, thermal energy, right, we defined last time, flows from high temperature to low temperature. This process is called the heat transfer. There are three primary ways that heat flows: heat conduction, convection, and thermal radiation. Heat conduction is the transfer of heat by direct contact of the particles. Conduction occurs between two materials at different temperatures when they are actually touching each other. So where is the heat energy conducted to and from in that system? Well, hopefully you can see those purple arrows. The heat is going from the hot chocolate to the cold spoon, making the metal spoon hot. Thermal equilibrium occurs when two bodies have the same temperature. If I put two steel plates next to each other, one at 100 degrees Celsius and one at 50 degrees Celsius, the heat will flow from the higher temperature to the lower temperature until they are both 75 degrees Celsius. No thermal energy or no heat flows during thermal equilibrium because the temperatures are the same material. Materials that conduct heat easily are called thermal conductors, and those that conduct heat poorly are called thermal insulators. So is a down coat, one that's stuffed with feathers, a conductor or an insulator? Hopefully you realize with all those air spaces in there, that would be an insulator, keeping the warm in and the cold out. Metals, remember, are good thermal conductors, while anything that has air pockets in it, plastic, styrofoam, wood, those are thermal insulators. Convection is the second kind. It's a transfer of heat through the motion of matter such as air and water. The hot water at the bottom of the pot rises to the top and replaces the cold water. That's what makes the water boil. It's a convection. Convection is also what distributes heat throughout a room. Cold air sinks and warm air rises. This is why the top bunk is always hotter than the bottom bunk. Heat transfer and wind currents. A thermal in the atmosphere is a convection current. It's when a surface like a road or parking lot absorbs a lot of solar radiation and it emits it as heat. That warm air molecules gain kinetic energy and rise, get cooled down, and sink. The colder air is forced aside and sinks. Thermal radiation is heat transferred from the sun is transferred by thermal radiation. All the energy the Earth receives from the sun comes from thermal radiation. The higher the temperature of an object, the more thermal radiation it will emit. Thermal radiation is also absorbed by objects. The amount of thermal radiation absorbed depends on the surface of the material. Dark surfaces absorb most of the thermal radiation they receive, while silver or mirrored surfaces reflect that thermal radiation. And of course, there's a song.
1, 2, 3, heat transfers energy. Such an easy thing to see, but I'm caught in between. While choosing which one, particles heat 1 to 1. It must be conduction, solids know how it's done. Cooling my hair, conduction is there. Heat moves hot to cold, thermometers are tools. Metals are good, conducting like they should. Styrofoam is not, it insulates the hot. Are you in rubber, defiless conduction? 1, 2, 3, atmosphere moves freely when heated by the sun. Hotter air starts to rise, a convection current causing winds to blow. Maybe a tornado heating up, it will go. Fluids get hot, moves around a lot, travels to the top, it cools, then drops. Less density, rising easily. Convection will pass through liquids or a gas. Are you in? Remember that beam convection. Warm up, cool down. Convection. 1, 2, 3. He transfers energy. Such an easy thing to see, but I'm caught in between. While choosing which one, it might be radiation. Radiation moves through space like when sunlight hits your face. 1, 2, 3, no particles to heat. Radiation transfers through empty space to me and you. Put your hands up to a flame. Radiation is to blame. Transferred heat is the game. Everybody loves it. Kinetic energy is increased. Solids vibrate, moving least. Liquids, gases create space. Rising higher to another place. Another place. Or touching. Or vacuum if it's waves. 1, 2, 3, 3 ways to move heat. Now I know how it's done. Solids use conduction, while liquids and air convection gets it there. And heat through space uses radiation waves. 1, 2, 3, 3 ways to move the heat. Now I know how it's done. Solids use conduction, while liquids and air convection gets it there. And heat through space uses radiation waves.
Well, that's it. I hope you learned a lot this year. I hope that I was a help to you. And as always, thanks for watching.